I want to start with Mullen and Noem. Kristi Noem's out. Fox News, many others reporting that she was fired from the position. She was demoted basically to another position. And Trump, to his credit, gave her a soft landing. She had been loyal to him, so he didn't just fire her unceremoniously out of the position. But some online today, his diehard fans saying she wasn't fired. He didn't fire her. Was she terminated from the position or not, Mark?
Yeah, she was made it clear that she was not going to be allowed to stay in that job. And as you said, pretty generous of him to let her have a soft landing. It's amazing to me, given that she was picked for a job that many people at the time said she wasn't qualified for, how many enemies she and Corey Lewandowski, her top consigliere, how many enemies they had at the highest levels of Team Trump. These were not kind of like low-level snipers. These are some of the most senior people in the president's orbit who didn't want the two of them around. And all the mistakes that she made, it's amazing she lasted as long as she did. So I sort of twist the question on its head. How did she get fired all of a sudden? Again, testament to Corey Lewandowski and Secretary Noem that she survived as long as she did.
What were the reasons? Because I know he was mad about her saying he blessed that $220 million ad campaign she starred in, but this had to go beyond that. To me, that was the final straw. But many reports that he was unhappy with her well prior to that and didn't want it, especially after Minneapolis, didn't want it to look like he was giving the left a scalp. But what do you think it actually was that turned Trump on her?
Well, I think it's a drumbeat of negative coverage, right? He doesn't like negative coverage of his team. He doesn't like negative coverage that obscures what he wants to get done. And as you know, objectively,
but none of them has good coverage. The media hates Pete. They hate RFKJ. They hate her.
Her negative coverage was directly getting in the way of his getting credit for the accomplishment, for instance, of shutting down the border, or of going into these blue cities and saying to the blue cities, there's a different operation going on in here, and we're going to deport people from your blue city. Her performance was blamed by the president and people around the president for distracting from that. In addition, he doesn't like when his team loses a congressional hearing, particularly when the Republicans gang up on his team. And so you see other cabinet officials like Pam Bondi, who has some detractors in the administration as well, going to the Hill and owning the libs, right? Doing a really good job theatrically of standing up to the Democrats and getting favorable questions from the Republicans. She did not perform well in back-to-back hearings, both on the issue of those paid ads, also on the allegations regarding her personal life. And I think the president just doesn't like that. He doesn't like to see his team lose in a congressional hearing. And it was compounded by the fact that some of the hardest questions came from Republicans and not just from Tom Tillis, who now habitually goes after Trump administration policies, but from Senator Kennedy of Louisiana. Just knowing the president, it doesn't like to see that kind of performance.
I actually wondered whether the Senator Kennedy questions came from the White House.
I mean, it certainly could have come from allies of Senator Kennedy who are not friendly to Senator Noem, for sure, because I just can't emphasize enough even before she took office, the number of people at a high level in the Trump orbit who do not like Corey Lewandowski at all is quite something. And again, I'll say it's testament to the bond he has with the president, because he was the one arguing she should stay on for several weeks, even after the president was clearly looking to make a change. The bond he has with the president is strong, and his ability to convince the president of things is strong. And these people, they did their best to get them out by leaking stories to the Wall Street Journal and others, to Daily Mail and others. And it finally culminated again in something that even Corey Lewandowski could not turn the president on.
Here is Harry Enton on the Noem termination with some actual numbers around what she was doing for the president. SOT 12B.
And the American people wanted her fired. They wanted her removed. She was a political nightmare for the President of the United States. I mean, just take a look at this. Wanted Noem removed as DHS Secretary. Overall, last month, Quinnipiac University found the majority of Americans, 58%, wanted her to be adios amigos, goodbye, see you later. Among independents, you can see it right here, 62% of independents, we're talking more than 3 in 5 independents, wanted her kicked to the curb. So Donald Trump here making the politically popular move because Americans were simply put put sick of Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem's net popularity rating during Donald Trump's term, positive in none, zero, nada. None of the polls did she have a positive net approval rating. In all of the polls, she was underwater, swimming in the deep blue sea. She had a negative net popularity rating in every single poll conducted during Donald Trump's second term. Simply put, Americans did not like the job that she was doing as DHS secretary.
Okay, now I have a point I want to make, and then I want to give it to you. If you could absolutely say that same thing about RFKJ and Pete Hegseth, both of whom have had universally negative coverage, universally, absolutely no positive coverage. I mean, on Fox, of course, and independent media, but I'm talking about mainstream so-called media. But they're doing their thing. RFKJ is getting things done at HHS. Obviously, Pete Hegseth is too, in terms of what the president wants from him. And their negatives are not so great and their news coverage so big that they are hurting him. I think she hurt him with the behavior in Minneapolis, calling Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist and saying he went there to try to interfere with law enforcement and overstating. What he did was bad enough. It was clear he interfered with law enforcement, and that's why he wound up dead. But she overstated it and made ICE, as a result, look bad. And that turned into a negative story around Trump. And sure enough, Trump's numbers went down after Minneapolis, and that's the reason why he pulled her and put Homan in there. So I think she started to creep into his numbers. And then that thing with Senator Kennedy was just like the final example of it. Even if Trump had approved that ad campaign, and I believe him that he didn't, he did want her to do ads and photo ops calling attention to the deportations. I've been told that. But 220 million, probably not. But even if he had approved it, Mark, the underling doesn't say, yes, the president told me to do it. The underling says, no, it was my call, Senator Kennedy. Or they dodge and just say, the decision was mine. I'm the one. They protect the president, and she didn't. So to me, it seems like a whole slide of she didn't protect the president. She was a problem for the president. Her negatives hurt him, and we see that still in his numbers, and therefore she had to go.
I agree with everything you said. I'd only add two things. One, my friend Harry talks awfully loud on TV. Not sure what producer's in his ear, but man, I've had dinner with Harry. He doesn't talk
so
that loud.
Entertaining.
Yeah, it's a shtick.
Love the accent.
I agree with everything you said. All I'd add is this: Bobby Kennedy is really important for MAGA for the midterms, and MAHA for the midterms, rather. Pete Hegseth is in the midst of a war and has done a lot of the things the president wants done regarding reforming the culture of the military, and doesn't. Neither of them have the kind of scandals and controversies that Secretary Noem has in this respect. There's relentless coverage of her and her decisions about contract approvals, about those ads, about her personal life. And then it all came into sharp focus at the hearing. The other two have controversies, but they've avoided having these kind of very high profile set piece moments. The president thinks of his life as a movie with big scenes and characters. He's the main character, other characters. She had a horrible day in 2 straight days in the news cycle. And I think, although he was having questions about her previously, it's just too relentlessly downside negative about her, as you said, affecting him on one of his signature issues.
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at spot price. Okay, $20,000 got you 33 ounces. At today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth about $165,000. That would have been a very good investment. And that's why so many smart Americans do diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals. They're thinking about what's going to happen in the next 20 years. And it's also why you should consider buying gold from Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has been a store of wealth. And today, it is a crucial part of any balanced strategy. Even better, Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. All you have to do is text MK to the number 989898, and that will give you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation. It's just useful information from which you can make a decision. With an A+ rating, with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Now that's peace of mind. Again, text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.